The lights dim. Thousands of people sit inside a massive arena in London. The air vibrates with excitement. On the giant screen behind the stage, a word flashes. OneCoin. Music swells. Smoke machines release a dramatic cloud. Then she appears. A tall woman in a glittering red gown walks confidently onto the stage. Her name is Ruja Ignatova. The crowd erupts in applause. She smiles calmly, like someone who knows she controls the room. Bitcoin had its day, she declares. But OneCoin will become the #1 cryptocurrency in the world. The audience explodes. Some people cry. Others hug strangers beside them. Because Ruja Ignatova is not just selling a coin. She is selling a dream. A dream of instant wealth. But here's the terrifying truth. Behind the diamonds, behind the confidence, behind the promises, the entire empire is a lie. And in just a few years, this woman will steal billions of dollars, disappear without a trace, and become one of the most wanted women on earth. But how did it all begin? Let's go back to the beginning. And trust me, this story gets darker. Before we continue, if you enjoy true crime stories about billion-dollar scams, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. Because the story you're about to hear sounds like a Hollywood movie, but it's completely real. Long before she became the Cryptoqueen, Ruja Ignatova was known as something else. A genius. Born in Bulgaria in 1980, she later moved to Germany with her family. Teachers described her as brilliant, ambitious, and extremely determined. She studied law at the prestigious University of Oxford. Yes, Oxford. One of the greatest universities in the world. Her classmates believed she would become a powerful lawyer or politician someday. But Ruja had bigger plans. She wasn't interested in power. She wanted money. And not just millions. She wanted billions. Before OneCoin, Ruja had already been involved in questionable business schemes. In 2012, she was linked to a fraudulent company connected to her father and even spent time dealing with legal consequences from earlier scams. But instead of stopping, she learned something powerful. Fraud isn't about lying. Fraud is about confidence. If people believe you, they will give you anything. Their money, their trust, even their life savings. So Ruja began designing something much bigger. Something global. Something unstoppable. And then, in 2014, she launched it. Ruja Ignatova announced a revolutionary invention. A cryptocurrency called OneCoin. She claimed it would become the next Bitcoin. Investors were told this digital currency would dominate the future of finance. And millions believed her. Why? Because cryptocurrency was exploding. Bitcoin had made early investors incredibly rich. So when Ruja promised that OneCoin would beat Bitcoin, people listened. But there was one tiny problem. OneCoin was not a cryptocurrency. It had no blockchain technology, no real mining, no real digital infrastructure. It was nothing more than a Ponzi scheme disguised as innovation. But no one knew that yet. Ruja's strategy was genius. Instead of selling coins directly, she sold education packages. Inside these packages were tokens that supposedly mined OneCoins. But the real engine of growth was something else. Multi-level marketing. People earned commissions for recruiting others. So investors became recruiters. Recruiters became evangelists. And soon, the OneCoin message spread across the globe. From Europe to Asia to Africa, millions joined. Teachers, taxi drivers, farmers, families. By 2016, investors had poured in billions of dollars. Some even sold their homes to invest. They believed they were entering the future of money. But they were walking into something else. A financial disaster. Not everyone believed Ruja. Blockchain experts started asking a simple question. Where is the blockchain? Because every real cryptocurrency has one. But OneCoin didn't. It was just numbers on a private database controlled by the company. Soon, regulators in several countries began issuing warnings. Governments suspected fraud. Investigations started. But Ruja ignored the criticism. Instead, she doubled down. More events, bigger stages, more promises. She even called herself the Cryptoqueen. And millions cheered. But the walls were closing in. Authorities were getting closer. And Ruja knew something terrifying was about to happen. She was about to be arrested. So she made a decision that shocked the world. October 2017. Ruja Ignatova boards a flight from Sofia, Bulgaria to Athens, Greece. She tells her team she will attend another OneCoin conference soon. But she never arrives. She never appears again. She disappears. Completely. No phone calls. No social media. No sightings. Nothing. Just like that. The Cryptoqueen vanished. And the global manhunt began. But the story doesn't end there. Because what investigators discovered next was far more disturbing. Billions of dollars missing. Organized crime connections. And rumors that the Cryptoqueen may have been murdered. Or worse. Still alive. Somewhere. Watching everything. If you want to hear the shocking next chapter, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. Because we uncover the billions that disappeared. The criminals behind OneCoin. The arrests that exposed the truth. And the terrifying theories about Ruja Ignatova's fate. Trust me, long before Ruja disappeared, people had already started noticing something strange. Experts in blockchain technology were asking a simple question. Where is the blockchain? Every real cryptocurrency, like Bitcoin, runs on a public blockchain that anyone can verify. But OneCoin had none. Instead, investors could only see numbers inside the company's own website. Which meant something terrifying. The company controlled everything. They could create coins whenever they wanted. They could change balances whenever they wanted. They could manipulate prices whenever they wanted. Because the coins didn't really exist. It was nothing more than numbers on a screen. But by the time people started realizing this, it was already too late. Millions had invested. And billions of dollars had already moved into the system. The real genius of the scam wasn't the technology. It was the marketing machine. Instead of selling coins directly, OneCoin sold educational packages that ranged from a few $100s to over $100,000. These packages supposedly taught people about cryptocurrency. But hidden inside them were tokens used to mine OneCoin. And there was another powerful incentive. Recruitment. Anyone who brought in new investors would earn commissions. Which meant investors became recruiters. And recruiters became promoters. Soon, the scheme exploded across the globe. Seminars appeared in Europe, Asia, Africa, South America. In some countries, stadiums were filled with thousands of hopeful investors. Entire families invested their savings. Some people sold their homes. Others borrowed money. They believed they were entering the future of finance. But in reality, they were fueling one of the largest Ponzi schemes in history. By 2017, investigators estimated the scheme had collected more than $4 billion from victims worldwide. And the mastermind behind it all? Still smiling on stage. Still promising riches. Still wearing the crown of the Cryptoqueen. As the money grew, authorities across the world started paying attention. Financial regulators in multiple countries began issuing warnings about OneCoin. Then law enforcement agencies launched investigations. One of the most powerful agencies in the world got involved. The Federal Bureau of Investigation. They began gathering evidence against the leadership of OneCoin. Emails. Financial transfers. Internal documents. And what they discovered shocked them. Inside company emails, executives openly admitted that OneCoin had no real blockchain. One message described it as a fake coin. Another message revealed how the company manipulated coin prices to create the illusion of growth. This wasn't just deception. It was industrial-scale fraud. While Ruja Ignatova vanished in 2017, some of her closest partners weren't so lucky. In 2019, authorities arrested her brother, Konstantin Ignatov. He had taken over leadership of OneCoin after his sister disappeared. But investigators already had years of evidence. Faced with overwhelming proof, Konstantin made a shocking decision. He pleaded guilty. And then he began cooperating with investigators. During court testimony, he confirmed something devastating. OneCoin had never been a real cryptocurrency. It was always a scam. From the very beginning. And the mastermind behind it. His own sister, Ruja Ignatova. Investigators began tracing where the billions had gone. But the money didn't sit in simple bank accounts. It had been moved through a massive web of shell companies, luxury real estate purchases, offshore accounts, and private investments. Authorities discovered properties linked to the OneCoin empire in places like London, Dubai, Germany, Bulgaria. Some apartments were worth tens of millions of dollars. Yet despite all the evidence, the one person they needed most was still missing. Ruja Ignatova. And without her arrest, many victims feared justice might never come. Eventually, the search reached its highest level. In 2022, the Federal Bureau of Investigation placed Ruja Ignatova on its top 10 most wanted list. The same list used for terrorists and violent criminals. A massive reward was announced. $5 million. For information leading to her capture. Suddenly, her face appeared on wanted posters across the world. Airports, police stations, international news broadcasts. But despite the global manhunt, there were still no confirmed sightings. It was as if the Cryptoqueen had simply vanished into thin air. As the years passed, new rumors began to circulate. Some investigators believed Ruja had escaped to the Middle East using fake passports. Others believed she was hiding under a completely new identity. But the darkest theory came from intelligence reports in Eastern Europe. They suggested something far more sinister. That Ruja Ignatova may have been murdered by organized crime. Some reports claimed she had been killed on a yacht in the Mediterranean after falling into conflict with criminal partners. But no body has ever been found. And without proof, the mystery remains unsolved. While the world searched for the Cryptoqueen, millions of victims were left behind. People who had trusted her, believed her, followed her. Some lost their life savings. Others lost their homes. Families were torn apart by the financial devastation. For them, the story of OneCoin isn't just a crime story. It's a personal tragedy. And until Ruja Ignatova is found, the wounds may never fully heal. But the final chapter of this story is even more shocking. Because the mystery of Ruja Ignatova may be far from over. Some investigators believe she could still be alive, living somewhere under a new identity, watching the world search for her, and waiting for the moment when everyone stops looking. If you want to see the final chapter of this unbelievable story, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. In June 2022, something historic happened. The Federal Bureau of Investigation added Ruja Ignatova to its top 10 most wanted list. This list normally includes terrorists, murderers, and international fugitives. But Ruja Ignatova earned her place there for something else. A financial crime so massive it shocked investigators worldwide. Authorities believe the OneCoin scheme stole more than $4 billion from victims across the globe. And despite years of investigations, the mastermind behind the scheme remains free. The FBI even offered a reward of $5 million for information leading to her capture. That's one of the largest rewards ever offered for a financial criminal. Yet the phone calls with credible tips never came. Investigators began following the money trail. But the deeper they dug, the more complicated the puzzle became. The stolen money had moved through offshore shell companies, cryptocurrency wallets, international bank transfers, luxury property investments. Some funds were traced to expensive real estate in London. Others appeared connected to accounts in the Middle East. Millions had been spent on luxury lifestyles, private jets, designer clothes, massive penthouse apartments. Yet even after tracking many accounts, billions remain missing, completely unaccounted for. Some investigators believe those funds are still controlled by Ruja herself. which raises a chilling possibility. If she is still alive, she may be one of the richest fugitives in the world. As investigators examined the network behind OneCoin, something disturbing emerged. This wasn't just a business scam. It appeared connected to powerful criminal networks. Reports suggested that money from the scheme had passed through individuals linked to Eastern European organized crime groups. That meant the stakes were even higher. Billions of dollars moving through criminal channels often attracts dangerous people. And that led investigators to a frightening theory. What if Ruja Ignatova didn't disappear by choice? What if someone made her disappear? One of the most shocking rumors surfaced from intelligence sources in Eastern Europe. According to certain reports, Ruja Ignatova may have been murdered shortly after her disappearance. The theory claims she boarded a luxury yacht in the Mediterranean. There, she allegedly met with criminal partners who had helped move OneCoin money. But the meeting did not go well. According to the rumors, she was killed and her body thrown into the sea. If this story is true, then the Cryptoqueen's empire ended in the darkest way possible. But here's the problem. There is no physical evidence. No body. No confirmed witnesses. Which means the theory remains just that. A theory. Other investigators believe something very different. They believe Ruja Ignatova planned her disappearance years in advance. Remember, she was extremely intelligent. Educated at one of the world's best universities. Surrounded by lawyers and financial experts. If anyone could disappear successfully, it would be someone like her. Some reports claim she obtained multiple passports. Others suggest she may have undergone plastic surgery. There are even rumors she now lives quietly somewhere under a completely new identity. Possibly in the Middle East. Possibly in Eastern Europe. Or possibly somewhere no one would ever expect. If that's true, she could be living comfortably today, watching the world search for a woman who technically no longer exists. While the mystery continues, the victims of the OneCoin scheme are still trying to rebuild their lives. Thousands of people lost everything. Life savings, homes, retirement funds. Some victims even convinced friends and family to invest, which caused relationships to break apart. For them, the story of OneCoin is not just a financial scandal. It's a personal tragedy. They continue hoping that one day Ruja Ignatova will be found. Because justice, they believe, is the only way to bring closure. Today, experts widely consider OneCoin to be one of the biggest financial frauds in history. Larger than many famous Ponzi schemes. And more global than almost any scam before it. What made it so powerful was a combination of three things. The rise of cryptocurrency, the power of global online marketing, and the charisma of one woman. A woman who convinced millions she could build the future of money. But instead, she built an illusion. And when the illusion collapsed, she vanished. Even today, the mystery remains unsolved. Is Ruja Ignatova a dead, or alive and hiding? A living under a secret identity? Or waiting somewhere for the world to stop looking? No one knows. But one thing is certain. The legend of the Cryptoqueen will remain one of the most fascinating mysteries in financial history. A story of ambition, greed, deception, and one woman who fooled the world. If you found this story fascinating, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. Because we share incredible true crime stories, shocking mysteries, and real-life scandals just like this one. And who knows? If new information about the Cryptoqueen ever emerges, you'll be the first to hear it right here. Until then, the question remains, where is Ruja Ignatova?